I am Clémentine at the Review Board, and this is a short presentation on environmental assessment startup and scoping for developers. When a developer proposes a larger project, like a mine or all-season road, or a project that may affect a culturally or environmentally sensitive area, the proposed project is likely to be referred to an environmental assessment with the Review Board. The referral starts the environmental assessment process. A project can be referred to the Review Board by an indigenous government, a land and water board, a municipality, or the territorial or federal government. A proposed project can also require an environmental assessment if it is ordered by the Review Board itself. Scoping is the first stage of the environmental assessment process. During scoping, the Review Board listens to all interested parties about which impacts or concerns they think the environmental assessment should include. Knowing what impacts or concerns matter most to participants helps the Review Board carefully consider what issues to focus on throughout the environmental assessment. Scoping sessions are in person. They include Indigenous, territorial, and federal governments, as well as the developer and other interested parties. There are usually some scoping sessions for technical experts and some for communities. The developer would take part in scoping to help other parties understand the proposed project, better understand the concerns of communities and parties, help focus the environmental assessment on important issues, recommend excluding certain issues that can be addressed by standard mitigation techniques, and show willingness to improve the project design and address the concerns heard. Scoping is very important. Time spent preparing for and participating in scoping can make a big difference to the whole environmental assessment. During scoping, the developer can present the proposed project to parties, answer questions, and correct misunderstandings. The developer should also listen to the concerns raised about the project's impact to learn what issues matter most to communities and describe how it will incorporate indigenous traditional knowledge into its predictions. Later, the developer can review and comment on the Review Board's draft terms of reference to make sure requirements are clear and achievable. The terms of reference lists all topics the developer should focus on during the environmental assessment and is written by the Review Board at the end of the scoping phase. When scoping sessions are finished and the Review Board has heard from interested parties, the Review Board will think about what it heard and decide what issues the environmental assessment will study. The board will write the draft terms of reference, which will include questions the developer will answer about impacts and how they can be reduced or avoided. The Review Board will ask parties to review the draft terms of reference and decide if it is asking the right questions and prioritizing the right impacts. Once the terms of reference is finalized, you must answer all questions in a document called the Developer's Assessment Report. For more information on it, please watch the short video on the Developer's Assessment Report. In an environmental assessment, scoping is all about focusing on the impacts that matter for better project design and a more focused environmental assessment.